Hello and welcome to Talking About Cross Stitch with me. I am Karen and I am the Stitching Owl coming to you from London, Ontario, Canada. I am just so excited to be with you today. I missed you 2 weeks ago and I thank you for your thoughts, love and friendship over the past little while. I know that many of you figured out that I needed to have another skin cancer treatment, and I appreciate the time and caring that was fully evident over the past few weeks. I'm very, very glad to be back and able to come down into my studio again. We have a brand new railing to make it easier for me to get up and down so that I can get to my piano. If I can do a public service announcement and say to all of you who grew up in a period of time similar or not too much later in time than myself, we did not have the skincare products for the summer sun. So I just encourage you to be aware and have your skin checked out. And for those of you who are dealing with children and grandchildren who might not want to put on the sunscreen, it needs to be a make or break it. We don't stay at the beach if the sunscreen doesn't go on, and it needs to be reapplied often to prevent having to do the things that I have had to deal with. So enough of that. We have some stitching to talk about. 4 weeks. I thought I would be having a full whip parade today and that everything would have so much done on it. And guess what? No, there's always more stitches than you think in something when you sit down to it. And as I'm sure you're not surprised that there was a few ups and downs in my ability to stitch. Let's start though with my fully finished objects. Now I haven't seen you since about the 23rd of July. So the first 3 FFOs I'm going to show you were actually accomplished in the month of July, and they were to do with my sheep calendar. When I purchased this pattern, it was by Lotus Lake, and I believe it is now named Pink Lotus on Etsy. So I FFO'd my June sheep, my July sheep, and my August sheep. And my August sheep, one of the things that you can find out is why my friend Mary, who I'm stitching this with, is not putting on this particular border. While I am usually doing really well at keeping it straight, when you do the lacing, sometimes you just end up pulling it slightly off. So I might have to take this one off because he's a little bit askew. So I am stitching on an 18 count Aida cloth, that was dyed by Twitchy Stitcher Karen. She was teaching me how to do it. And I am using 1 strand of sulky 12 weight floss, which means all of my sheep are a conversion. Sometimes I'm doing like colors and other times I'm playing around with it. So there we have the 3 sheep. Oh, let's see if I can get these up, that I got finished. And now I will be heading in to starting my September sheep very, very soon. So that was 3 fully finished that counted in July. Now in August, I've got another 3 to show you. And the first one that I'm going to show you is my Christmas Folk Bird by Tidy Patterns. This was a pattern that was gifted to me by friend CJ. And I did this on a 40 count Verdal, and I got it finished. Now, I have been doing what Steph has, that from Fine Fox Stitchery. where we find patterns that don't have too many thousands of stitches left and try and stitch it out. So this one had about 2,500 stitches left in it. So I took a week where I stitched on it every day, and then I had a couple of those days where I actually put in 400 to 500 stitches. I am thrilled with how this turned out. One strand of DMC on 40 count for doll that is hand dyed by Rolanda. This is part of the birthday sal that I did with Laura, Melanie, Bethany, Karen D, Mary, Leigh, Charlie, and many others. As usual, I've got felt on the back, and you can see that I've got a little bit of cording around the edge just to set it off a little bit. This is 5,292 stitches. So the one thing that I really like about this is it is called Christmas Bird, but it is using the teals and the chestnutty reddy browns, which means this does not only have to go out for 1 month. It can be out all year round. My next fully finished item is Works by ABC, a floral color wheel, which I stitched at the beginning of this year and then just didn't quite get around to fully finishing it. And here we go. I'm really pleased with this. So this is a 20 count parchment Aida with one strand of DMC again, and then I used, these are size 10 seed beads around the outside where I couched them. Now, Karen and I are going to do a few of our explanations on our next Y2K, which is coming very soon. And couching is one of the things that I want to be able to chat with you about and demonstrate. I am still very tempted to do this on a different color background with my overall flower in white, a bead in the center of each of these flowers, and maybe a few beads in here. There's, great potential. And I know the other day while I was chatting with friends, somebody was saying, you know, I'd like to just brighten up the colors a bit. Even though it's a color wheel, can we go brighter? And I was like, you know, I think you could. So we'll see. There's so much to do in our stitchy time. It's hard to do everything we want to do. And the last FFO for today is the one that was my mother's favorite. I visited her yesterday and took all of my fully finished items. When I grew up, we had a shared backyard with our next door neighbors, no fences between. And right in the middle of the shared backyard, we had like a garden island, so to say, that was just full of iris. My parents did dig up those iris when they moved so that they would continue on. And this is Iris by Owl Forest Embroidery. I did this on, let me see. This is a 36 count Verdal hand dyed, 36 count even weave, hand dyed by Rolanda. And I used one strand of DMC. Some people like to use 2 on 36, and that's fine. I just really enjoyed doing this stitch, and I am very tempted to do another one of their floral pieces to have a pair. So you can see that I created my own cording at the top, and I put just the very edge of some lace that Karen D provided me to just add a little bit of texture around the outside, and that white matches the B5200 that I used in the actual stitching. So I have some things to put up and indeed share with my mother that should they get dropped, nothing can break. So those were my 6 FFOs for today. And now let's talk finishes. As you know, Michael of Up Left Stitches is a Snoopy fan, also a Garfield fan, a pretzel fan of lots of things. But he has run the Summer Snoopy Sal. And so many of us were purchasing patterns either one at a time or in a book. And I did this little guy. I just realized I need to put a tail onto Snoopy. So this is a 99.5% done. We need a tail, but we have the nest Woodstock on top, which is what the name of the city I grew up in. And Snoopy. The stitches in my Snoopy book are fairly straightforward and are great fill-in projects for when you are doing something like the Lindy Stitches online retreats. So this was great fun. This is a 20 count unnamed, it's a one of a kind by Roxy Flosco that I got when I was at Stitch North one time. And now, let's see if I can find my notes on this. I have been working on the mini bird mandala by X Counting the Stars. It's got 24 colors. And what I did, this was a single one that I was hoping to have it fully finished for today, but not enough hours in the day. But there we go. I finished my bird mandala, and this is 4,595 stitches. It is full coverage. This is also part of the Bird of the Day Sal. Getting the hang of saying that one. And indeed, it can also be part of the Things with Wings Sal, that is the Curly Q Stitcher, because this month is her birthday month. So I need to write down Things with Wings so that I make sure I put that in my notes. So there were 6 different patterns. So next year I can do another one of these guys. It was great fun. And I've got to get my cards in the right order for my wonderful editor named Dee. My next finish was Frozen Peaks by Pigeon Coop Designs. This is one that is possible to use for the Canada swaps. That is, I need to get this FFO'd and into the mail very, very soon. So this has 10 DMC colors. There is some CC stitching so that these guys and the peaks of the mountains are CC. They are not actually stitched. I am on a 20 count Aida. I think this one's called Broken Glass Houses by the Sewing Shop. I think it's a fabulous fabric. There's a little bit of gray in it, a little bit of mauve, a little bit of texture. So this has 3,087 total stitches, is 86 by 86. And truly, it didn't take me that many stitching days. If I looked at the amount of stitching days, I'd say it was about 5. On the back of this, I have Art Nouveau Crow. Isn't that fabulous? This was another one that I said, oh, there's not that many stitches in this. Let's see if I put time into it and multiple days in a row like Steph is. Can I get it done? So this is on a 20 count Aida. This is a Zweigart from Stitch It Central. There is 5,669 total stitches. It is 74 by 98 with 14 total DMC colors. Now, I used most of the called for colors, but I admit that some of the shading in here, I changed a bit of it. And then down here, these are just sort of coming out as blobs. Maybe if I hold it close, you can see they're floral. But I'm just going to, so this is a needle lot design. Needle lot stitches so well. I'm just going to, you can almost see the feathers that are in the 939 and 312 mixed in with the 310. In person, you see the nuances of this particular stitch better. The interesting thing here is that in total, this is only the size of my hand. And I had pictured that it was going to be bigger, but I mean, I cut the fabric the right size for it. So I don't know why I was surprised it was this size. It is almost full coverage. The ring around our stages of the moon and this spot right here are not stitched, but everything else is solid. Wonderful, wonderful piece. This is out of her Etsy shop. And those are my finishes. Now, I was still doing starts as I was working through the past little while. I think one of the reasons that I thought I'd be able to do a whip braid is that I have typically in the past been somewhere around 15 to 18 whips, but I'm now 25 to 28 whips, and I want to give a really good full 2 days to a pattern so that the progress is more visible when I do my show and tell here. So no, I didn't get to everything. Now, one of the things that I started is called The Year of the Gnomes. It's by Jardin Prive. And this Year of the Gnomes comes in 3 sections, so you get 4 months per pattern. And it is long and narrow, so it is, okay, I think I counted it as 60 high and 225-ish across. I accidentally started in April. I had thought I was starting on the August gnome and didn't discover until I was a good couple hundred stitches in that I had a different pattern than Laura had. And so Laura, Pam, and Mary are stitching this with me. And we've got, I cannot remember the name of the Sal. I know we have Gnome Along, but we have another name specific to this guy. And I'm doing a sewing shop 20 count Aida. And this is it says fairly small start. This is only 458 stitches. It is 8.1%. Now I just want to remind you that Jardin Prive now has their own stitching program called Stitch Companion that is very similar to Pattern Keeper, so that you can mark off what your stitches as you stitch them. It is super easy to change the colors if you decided you wanted to brighten up something or whatever that you might want to do with the coloration. I really love that within this pattern there's a button on Stitch Companion where you can hide the back stitch and then turn it back on really, really easily so that it's easy to see what you're stitching in X's, and then also easy to follow it up and get the back stitching done as you go. In here, there is a little bit of back stitching. And now I am wondering, yes. So I think that there's supposed to be flowers here. If we go, this is a duck. And this is a boot. And again, those in person are actually much more visible. And then these are daffodils. So right here, 8.1% for 458 stitches. And for I Spy, this is my easiest project because it's block stitching with easy counting on Aida. And while there is some back stitch, it is a fair amount of long stitches, so it doesn't take that much to do as you're going, which is always lovely, isn't it? And next, I'm going to show Thistle and Bee by Nathnalu, which is a pattern that's 101 by 105 with 10 DMC colors. Again, I'm doing 20 count Aida. There's a fair amount of 20 count Aida right at the moment because it was the easiest for me to deal with in the past month. And my eyes are actually saying 20 count Aida is definitely easier than 40 count Verdal, but I have a lovely new magnifier that is making the Verdal possible again. So I'm going to work my way through my stash. So Thistle and Bee. I did not write down how many total stitches it is. And I'm stitching this with Pam and Mary to celebrate my Scottish friends. And also, like, this is how far I got it. This is 1,571 stitches for 31.93%. So there'll be about 3 times that at the end, so around 4,500. And I just want to point out that here, where I live, the thistle is somewhat the bane of people's existences as they try and get rid of it in their grass and one thing and another. But those things that are considered weeds one place, we still need to appreciate how gorgeous these plants are and understand that they are a wonderful thing to have in the world. The invitation for the bees to come and sip the nectar at the top is absolutely wonderful. So are they prickly? Yes, but they are ever so beautiful. So, and there's so few stitches here, it is easy to stitch 400 to 500 stitches on a single day. I think I've only put 3 days into that at this point with about 500 stitches per day. Now, another start in the past few weeks, actually this one was just last week, was a Lucky Shamrock. There are 11 DMC colors, and I am using Verdal here that is hand dyed by Rolanda. There are 12,406 total stitches. It is 139 by 197, and I am stitching this particular pattern with Karen D and Laura. And we all started in different places. So I started on the bottom left, which is not typical for me, but it's what seemed right at the time. There is a border. I think we're all choosing to stitch the border, but if you start in the center, you can make that choice as you go. So I might not have centered this well. I might have a wider amount. This is the middle point. Yeah, I didn't center this well. But it's got like a Celtic knot border in greens. So this is the greens and pinks that Karen loves so, so much. And this is 767 stitches for 2.78%. And for I Spy, I said that clover moves in the wind, especially if you just let it grow for a while and don't cut your grass every single week. Where we live, it dries out in August, so we're not mowing every week. So this will look more like something the next time we are together, and I do encourage you to actually pop into Laura and Karen D's. Karen D started the center, so she's got a nice, exciting 3-leaf clover sitting right there. She got a lot done in that first stitchy session. My next pattern is Art Nouveau Owl by Stitching Land, which I'm stitching this with Connie as part of my What a Hoot Sal. She started it on my birthday, I believe, and I was a little later than that. I've got 20 count fiber on a whim. There's 18 DMC colors and 17,708 total stitches. Now, this is where I am right now, and it does not look much like an owl. You have to imagine the owl's head is going to be up here. This is a wing, and this is part of his breast, and his feet will come in here. So the last time I was stitching this, I was essentially sitting as still as I possibly could. So I grabbed my 939. This is not 310, it's 939. And I just kept stitching this, and I'll fill in the colored feathers, well, potentially coming soon. So this is actually 2,007 stitches for 11.33%. And as the picture will show when Dee put it up, this is a circle, which is a full coverage circle. But Connie and I do love our full coverages, so this is a nice thing. There are a lot of beautiful patterns on this particular shop within Etsy. So animals, scenery, flowers, this is a great way to get your big toe wet with your full coverage stitching. And again, for the What a Hoot Sal, I did start the Starry Night Owl by Nathnalu on Etsy. I'm stitching this on an 18 count Aida. It is 97 by 105 with 8 DMC colors, only 8. 4,197 total stitches. As I said, this is for What a Hoot. And I think I cut a way too big piece of fabric, but better too big than too little. So you can see that one wing is more complete than the other. So this wing is more filled in, although I have a lot to do in there. And we've got some to do. And there's an array of stars and things around. So I'm using one strand of floss, and this is 1,235 stitches for 29.43%. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who has been stitching an owl or owl forest embroidery in honor of July, my birthday month. I was really touched at how many people jumped in and stitched with me. So thank you to Flosstubers and stitching friends who have stitched an owl. And thank you to my friend Heather, who stitched an owl and then sent it to me. It was ever so kind. And another start, yes, I know, another start, and it's another full cover start. God bless. In the month of August, Laura and I sort of said, what about aquatic August? And Kat, Ken and Lily, Robin, okay, hang on, Thrifty Artist Stitching, are stitching with Laura and I. We are doing the Midnight Dolphin. Now, Laura and I are doing the Midnight Dolphin. Other people have like multiple ways of celebrating aquatic August. And I would say that we are going to see a lot of aquatic ideas coming out. Now, Midnight Dolphin is an X Counting the Stars X pattern. It's 160 by 240 with 50 DMC colors. The colors are all very night-esque. 38,400 total stitches, and I'm doing this on a 20 count easy grid. And yes, there is no dolphin yet. This is 1,480 stitches for 3.85%. Up here there'll be little, this here has about 5 colors in it. Yes, 939 is very common, but there's other colors in there, and we'll see the glistening of things on the puppies going up and down on the water, and then the dolphin will come in over here. So it's not going to be a big project. So yes, 50 colors of floss is a fair amount, but so far it has been very easy to actually stitch an entire length of floss. So it's going to be very doable. Will it get done this year? Probably not. But maybe in Aquatic August next year, we can look at getting that one more completed. Now, as you know, I am part of a round robin here in Canada, and there is another one going in the States for Flosstube Friends by October House Fiber Arts. Now, in the given pattern, there is 23 DMC colors, but because it's a round robin, each of us is using our own color scheme. And I mean, we're going to have a mix of Sulky, Roxy Floss Code, DMC, like we're going to be all over the map with this. Now, in my troop of Flosstube friends is Sheila of Mrs. Stitches, Lisa of Forest City Stitching, Darlene of Darlene Dion Designs, Sarah the Rocking Chair Stitcher, and Kathy of Kathy's Quilts and Stitching. So we are doing it amongst Flosstubers. And where are, now this one is Sheila's. And I believe that this fabric is Painting with Stitches, the one that she has PEI red mud to get the color in. So this was Sheila here. This was Darlene Dion. This was Kathy's Quilts, and I've started on a fairly significantly sized skirt that is plaid. So I've got pink and white going, and I'm putting in occasional other colors. You can see the promise thread right there. It doesn't happen often with me, but there are the ladies. So I'm hoping to get that skirt done by the end of August, but we will see. Because as you know, there are more stitches there than you would think. So this is right now 6,902 stitches for 54.18%. Now, I did pull out Grand Gathering by Flossabilities again. Now, this has 53 DMC colors. And because these are all so vibrant, I would say that this is good for the hashtag all the colors sale that Kat is doing in the month of August. This is also started as part of the birthday sale with Charlie and Laura. Now, let's see where I've gotten it. So clearly what I was doing was putting in the arch and part of this pedestal. I've got myself set up so that I can continue doing the arch as I want to, but this is where the peacock, and it's an adorable peacock, so that will be my next thing. We have leaves in here. I was just so thrilled that the the arch was counted correctly, people. I didn't have to frog and do it more than once. Now this right here is 6,056 stitches for 30.54%, so I'm almost 1/3 done. For I Spy, I said that this was part of a movie title because something called The Grand, it was a movie in 2007 about high stakes poker in Las Vegas. So I imagine The Grand was the name of a casino. So I'm just going to put it up closer for you to see the lovely colorful birds. Love the parrot. Oh my goodness. And we'll see if I can get to stitching the peacock in the next little while. Now I've got Tiptoe Through the Tulips, which is a Stitches So Beautiful piece. Artwork by Peggy Davis. It is 400 by 305 and has 112 CXC colors. There are 122,000 total stitches, so this is not going to be done this year and maybe not done next year. And I am doing this with Kim, Laura, and Leigh. We were picking full coverages with pink in it to celebrate Kim's birthday last month in a hashtag, what would Kim stitch? So in here, I started in the top left corner. And wow, it doesn't look as pink here as it does in person. Let's see if I pull it back, whether it's looking a little pinkier when I pull it back a bit. So there's lots of pink leaves. I will ultimately have a beautiful bunny in here. So this right now is 1,588 stitches for 1.3%. And in I Spy, I said that this would be something that bounces because there is a bunny in it. I think I showed you a very bare start of this the last time, but it's only been going for about a month. And we have the Tea Shop by X Counting the Stars X, which is 300 by 300, and I'm stitching on a 22 count hardanger. This is 90,000 total stitches, and I'm using one strand of CXC. I'm stitching this with Laura and Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, and guess what? I actually have part of the tea house in. Look at that. Now clearly, I need to get some more of this going, but I was just so excited to see that there was part of the tea house there that I just wanted to jump in and do it. And I'm just going to say for a moment, I did stitch a World Cross Stitch Day with Beth. She has a Crafts and Books Facebook group, and she was running, I think she was online for 12 hours of stitching. And so I jumped on and stitched with her and had a wonderful time. And it is a stitching group that you are welcome to join. So it's a matter of visiting her Facebook group, answering a few questions, and then it is lovely to get to know everybody. So with the Tea Shop, where am I now? 7,628 stitches for 8.48%. And for I Spy, of course, this is the letter T because it's the Tea Shop. And now we have Pizza Pups by Paine Free Crafts, artwork by Bridget Ashwood, and it is 446 by 355. So I'm aiming for this to be at least 2 years to do and potentially longer. I am stitching this with Katie and Steph, and in the Threadwalker saga that Steph created, this is the character Chanteuse. All of my characters are definitely going to be music oriented. So this is where you can see a Cocker Spaniel. Now he's not quite in, the nose is not there yet, but you can definitely pick up on the fact that he is a Cocker Spaniel. Now there's pizza and stuff down here, so we are not to the bottom yet. But right now, this is 13,834 stitches for 9.26%. And in the Threadwalker level, I am at number 46. For I Spy, little stretch, Laura, I said something that is crescent shaped because the eyebrow of the puppy is arched like a crescent. Now it's not on the side, but oh well, it's the right shape. At least I think. So I am so pleased. I have such fun doing this. And it is a situation where I have a number of my full coverages that I would happily stitch on them every single day if we could just come up with a 75-hour day. And next I have Stained Glass Lily by X Counting the Stars X. If you're getting that idea that for full coverage in particular, X Counting the Stars X is a favorite designer, you would be correct. Now I have so many favorite designers, but seriously, yes. So my Stained Glass Lily is part of the Summer Stained Glass Sal. And I'm stitching this with Laura, but there's all sorts of people that are stitching stained glass windows. Beth, Steadfast Stitcher, Katherine, Accounting My Stitches, are doing stained glass. Hang on. Charlie has a stained glass ornament that she's doing that she won the pattern. So now let's see. Hang on. Let's turn this around. I put things on both sides. So I got a lot done. So on days where I wasn't feeling in tip-top shape, this was a really solid full coverage. I find full coverage very soothing when I am a little off. So in Threadwalker character, the character is called Pianista. Today, this is at 8,220 stitches, which is 25.37%. I had hoped to have that water lily completely done. Not happening. In Threadwalker, it's level 33. But just, isn't that beautiful? So clearly, this is a 20 count easy grid. I ended up with a big piece that Maria at Stitch It Central gave to me at a discount because it was an odd size. She couldn't make fat quarters out of it. So I grabbed it and I've just been cutting it up. So again, this is a nice sized full coverage, and for people that are wanting to dip their toe into the waters, I feel like, now I happen to love stained glass. Look at my owl. So for me, this is very soothing because I enjoyed my owl so much that I actually think I'm going to probably have a stained glass full coverage going at all times. But if you want to do like one color, you can do the black, or like there's a number of colors that you've got a bunch of. For me, what I did for this area is I did put in all of the black and dark blue stained glass. Is it iron, melted iron? I can't remember what they make that out of. And then what I could do is I could pick a color of pink, and then I could go through and do a whole bunch of the leaves that had that color in it. And then I changed to a new color of pink. And so the pink is going to start getting brighter as we go into the center, or lighter, I can't remember which. So I'm hoping that my lily will be nicely colored in, but I'm planning on being back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks goes quickly. Well, no, it'll be 3 weeks because next week is Y2K. Excellent. So that means that I will likely be able to get that done. And Fresh Eggs and More is a Stitches So Beautiful. Artwork is by John Sloan. It is 400 by 320 with 128,000 total stitches, 114 DMC colors. I will say it's a lot of colors. I'm doing this on 22 count Hardanger, and my thread Sega Stitcher character is Dolcissimo. I started this to celebrate Lacey, the Sleepy Stitcher's birthday, and Sheila of Mrs. Stitches is also doing a John Sloan. They are not doing the same one I am. And let's see if I can get this in. Aha, there we go. So I'm trying to do this solid. So I have about 800 stitches in since the last time we were together. So I did fill in a whole bunch of the confetti stitching, and I got more, I don't know if that is roof. And there's going to be a chimney here that I will start to put in. This is 5,756 stitches for 4.5%. And in I Spy, eggs are part of a farmer's market. Oh, and finally, we've got Mini Catnap by Haed, artwork by Jeff Haney. It's got 89 CXC colors and is 315 by 225. And it's only 70,875 stitches, so it's not a BAP at all. It is a 20 count easy grid, and in Threadwalker Saga, it is the character Arietta. And I, of course, started this in February with Melanie as part of our Olympic challenge. Now, I have not been stitching this every day, so there's not as significant an increase in stitches as has been in the past, but I do have 2,000 more stitches in here. This is 33,787 stitches for 47.67%, close to halfway. There are actually a couple of these spots that are past the halfway. It's just that there's pieces that are not at the halfway point. So this line on the gridding is halfway. So you can see I have parts going over. I'm actually at level 76 in the Threadwalker challenge. And I said for I Spy, this is something bright because we've got lots of bright colors in it. Some of them become more absorbed because of the full coverage and how many different colors of blue or orangey colors that you've got around. But I just love doing this one. And again, I would stitch it every day, except that I wouldn't end up getting to everything. And I'm still not getting to everything, let's be honest. Okay, now I thought that since I had about 20 projects to share with you that I was going to be well over the hour just showing those. So my timing ended up better. So I did not prepare shout outs and things like that. I do want to draw your attention to all of my friends. My Flosstube friends, I list down in the description box that I hope that you will press the links and check out all of their channels because every one of them has a fabulous presentation. And each of us is that little bit different. So you can enjoy us all and see a little bit different, even if some of our projects overlap. The next Canada Chats is September the 6th. And fingers crossed, life allowing, Deanne of Stitching on the Rock will be our Flosstuber guest. My next Stitch 26 with Allison of Mrs. AZ's Family Zoo is September 16. Everybody is welcome. And of course, general stitching continues August the 25th, September 8th, and the 22nd. Yeah, I'm surprised at how quickly this has gone. I could have brought down my RPG, but I will do that next time when I'm wrapping up. I'll do a wrap up of my RPG for the entire summer. I have kept it going. So we're going to go on with my moment for music. I was not able to practice a lot over the past month, life being what it was. So I decided I would play for you a piece that happens to be one of my favorites for playing at services, whether it be church service, communion, funeral, wedding. I find it works just as a beautiful piece. It is combining the hymn Moment by Moment with a beautiful cello melody called The Swan by Camille Saint-Saëns. And with fingers crossed, I'm hoping that it held together, even though I wasn't practicing as much over the last month as is typical. But I do hope you enjoy my moment for music. And that is it for today. I want to say thank you to all of you who have visited with me today and taken the time to share my little bit of show and tell. I do hope that you are taking care of you, and that as you were watching my video, that you had a fabric, floss, and needle in hand, so that as you made something beautiful, you can make yourself happy. Take care of you. We'll see you again soon.